Hey guys, if you're just joining us, this is a status conference for the Daybell Vallow case. Extending commitment is what. Interesting. Gonna take us longer.
Okay, so we apparently have no sound.
Yeah, give me a minute.
So let's unshare that screen.
Okay, so we apparently have no sound. Yeah, give me a minute.
So let's unshare that screen.
Okay, so we apparently have no sound.
By oral finding on the record in today's hearing.
Okay, tell me now, guys, if you can hear that. It shows sound
from the Department of Health
that
and
we do
Welfare.
have sound on.
Prior to this
So
hearing,
if you're in the
we all
chat, let
checked
us
the
know.
calendars, and the next available date this matter could be heard would be on Wednesday, September 8th at 1:30. So my intent would be to get a progress report, hopefully before that date, for everyone to review, and then continue the status
Okay, we've got
conference
sound. Okay.
in order that the commitment continue until at least that time. So let me just confirm with the state. Is the state available for a further status conference on September 8th at 1:30?
We are, Your Honor, and I also wonder if we ought to just quickly inquire if the court reporter has heard everything or if they missed anything.
I heard everything except for when the judge froze up.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Mr. Means, Mr. Archibald, available at 1:30 on the 8th for a status conference?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very well. So the court will order that the commitment under 18212 be extended temporarily until that time. I'll follow up with Department of Health and Welfare, and if council thinks it's helpful for you to do the same, to get a progress report submitted prior to the hearing, we'll do that, and we'll hold further proceedings then on that time. All right, I think that concludes the issue we need to cover for this case for this afternoon. Anything else on the case 1624 this afternoon, Mr. Wood?
Not from the state.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Means or Mr. Archibald?
No, Your Honor.
No, thank you.
All right, thanks for your attendance, everyone. We'll go ahead and log off, and then I'll talk to council post-hearing.
Okay, well, that was quick.
Yep. So there you go. So basically, if you missed some of that, which you probably did, sorry, we had some tech issues and it was really quick. But they, of course, they had a big closed door meeting before they came on to the public. which honestly, at this point, it's getting old. I really wish that a larger news conglomerate would sue them for this
Right.
because it is really not okay that they keep withholding information from the public that is supposed to be public. But
Right.
some of it is under the, I guess, the HIPAA umbrella of Lori's healthcare not being discussed publicly. But at
Right.
any rate, so the question was, the conversation was that the judge has received a couple of letters from Lori's physicians at the state mental hospital requesting more time with her, requesting an extension of her stay. And so until they can meet again and get some official reports from the hospital, they are extending her stay. That was
But
the
they're
crux of
only
it.
extending till the 8th of September. They're going to meet
Yeah.
again on September 8th and hopefully have an official report back,
Mhm.
which won't that be at the 90-day mark anyway? About
It's really
September 8th
close.
is
Yeah.
about the 90-day mark.
Yeah.
Wonder if the doctor wonder if Lori has the doctor wrapped around her little finger. No, we are talking about state hospital docs, several of which I have met in my prior life as a social worker. They're very astute and they're pretty used to that kind of bullshit. So, no, if they say she's not competent, she's not.
Yeah.
There are certainly psychiatrists I have met in my time that could be manipulated by women pretty darn easily. Those state
Yeah.
doctors are not those doctors, though, because, man, they have seen it all. And
Yeah.
and probably way more than we ever even know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but so
Gloria,
why
do her docs need docs yet? Right? They probably do.
Probably.
Mm.
Why was Pryor there? This was a status conference for both cases, for Chad and for Lori, for their
Yeah.
attorneys. So yeah, they were all there.
But apparently they didn't do anything on Chad's case, which I thought they were going to.
Unless
was
they did
kinda
it
weird.
behind closed doors.
And maybe they did, because there's a lot of that shit going on, which I really don't think is legal. And,
Mhm.
protecting Lori's HIPAA, private healthcare information is, definitely something that has to be behind
Mhm.
closed doors. But there is nothing going on with Chad that has to be behind closed doors. Let's get
No.
real here.
Very frustrating. The one interesting thing here, the dates on this case just keep lining up in the weirdest of ways. But Tylee died on the 9th of September.
Yes.
This status conference is on the 8th of September, just a day before. Yeah.
Right. Right. But why is Chad sealed? Why would Chad's
Yeah.
be sealed? His case has not been stayed. There is no mental health status, anything going on. Why would his be sealed?
Yeah.
That is the question that I think we all have.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. If they can talk about this with Lori, that her doctors want more time with her, which is pretty personal information, why can't they talk about Chad? That is my question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that happened on the 26th. The order to seal.
yeah. And we don't know, right? It feels like they're protecting them. It does. But, we have to always remember that the job of the courts and the prosecutor and the defense attorneys is to protect the legal rights of those accused. And we want those rights protected. 100% we want those rights protected. And so if there's something that we don't know yet that they are protecting, then, it's frustrating. But, we have to trust the system that they are going to protect people's rights. They're not protecting them as criminals. And I know it feels that way, but I don't believe that at all. But they don't
No.
want any reason for appeal later for any kind of misconduct. So, yeah, but the closed door meetings, yeah, makes me mad. Me too, Cranky. Makes me really mad.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you guys want to hear the sealing? I can
Yeah.
read you what it says. If it might help some of you more than it helped me, frankly, but this was ordered on the 26th. In response to the state's filing of a motion under seal regarding counsel's representation of the defendant and to the defense's motion under seal in objection, the court orders as follows. After due consideration of the factors set forth in ICAR 32, and finding that a likelihood exists that both the state and defense could be prejudiced by discussion or dissemination of information already sealed, the court finds a compelling interest is at stake in the need to preserve a fair trial, and no reasonable alternative exists to protect this fundamental right except to conduct a closed hearing at this time. The court will also hear the sealed motion to intervene, as the issues raised therein are interrelated. For the same reasons as set forth, that motion will also be heard in the closed hearing, and the record of the proceedings shall be sealed. The motions are scheduled and will be heard August 30th, 2021. The closure of the hearing is for these limited purposes and is no broader than necessary to protect the parties' interests in preventing the disclosure of potentially prejudicial information or to irreparably injure the parties' rights to a fair trial.
So honestly, first of all, that sounds to me like some concerns over his legal representation.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking up ICAR. ICAR Rule 32. Let's see. Statement of policy. This rule is adopted pursuant to the Idaho Supreme Court's authority to control access to court records as recognized in the Idaho Public Records Act. The public has a right to access the Judicial Department's declarations of law and public policy and to access the records of all proceedings open to the public. This rule provides for access in blah, blah, blah. Okay. In the event of any conflicts, this rule shall prevail over other rules on the issue of access to judicial records. So basically, they're saying they have an exemption to this rule.
Mm-hmm.
But this is about his representation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she definitely is still in a psychiatric facility. We know that.
Yeah.
I know people keep saying she's back from jail, and she's definitely not. She is in a psychiatric hospital, just as she's always said. All those YouTubers that keep saying that, you guys, they don't live here. They don't know anything about the local situation. I don't know if they're just trying to create something to talk about, but it isn't true.
No.
And
She has been
me
in the
and
hospital.
Archibald can be visiting that courthouse anytime they want because they're attorneys, you guys. Mm-hmm. Not that they are, but.
No, well, Mark Means isn't even here. However,
he lives 5 hours away, you guys.
Yeah. Now, yes, Archibald is at that jail frequently. But the thing that you have to understand is that two things to understand about that. First of all, he's a public defender and one of the few in the area. So he's at that jail constantly.
Yeah.
For jail reasons, for for work reasons, for court reasons. The other thing you got to know is that the jail and the courthouse are in the same building.
Yeah.
And so frequently, if Archibald is seen showing up at what you might deem the jail, he's very well going to the courthouse to conduct court matters. So yeah, I know we just keep hearing this, but it's just blatantly not true.
It is.
Yeah.
No. Well, and I think that what's going on here with this hearing, from what you just read to us, is that the prosecutor has an objection to Chad's representation, and that is John Pryor, who is not qualified to try a death penalty case.
That's true, but what we have read is that under the Sixth Amendment, Chad, as long as Chad is not under the care of a public defender, has the right to waive his right to have someone who's qualified. But it's probably procedure to make him do that so that later he can't come back and say, well, I didn't get a fair trial because my attorney wasn't qualified. So this is probably a procedural thing to make sure that his rights are protected and so that he can't come back later and say he had an unfair representation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what's going on. Can Lori's doctors be held in contempt if they don't provide a proper progress report? I mean, yeah, but all they're wanting it in a particular format that the court wants.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a big deal. They're just going to go back to them and tell them, look, you know, you got to put it in the right format. It's not like this is a real regular thing around here. It isn't.
No.
And so these doctors probably have not done a report like this before, or maybe only done a couple.
Mm-hmm. Well, they may also want them to provide them some kind of forecast,
Mhm.
of when do they
Yeah.
anticipate that she will be ready to come back and stand trial. There's just probably some specific things they want them to answer.
Right. Do they have a timeline in mind? You know, what do they think?
Yeah.
Gloria says Chad's kids will be on 48 hours this Wednesday, and they're saying he was framed, hoping this doesn't affect the case. It's
Yeah.
not going to affect the case.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Lori's family did at the behest of her attorney.
Yep.
This is just, it's, you know, they want to be able to say that the family supports them and believes in them. Because if your own kids think you did it, you're done,
Yep.
So they're going to go on and say he was framed. I mean, it's completely ridiculous to say that, but that's what they're going to say. But you're right, Gloria. There's way too much evidence.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, what was your response, all of you? What was your response when you heard that they were going on 48 hours and that they were saying that their dad was framed? Did you roll your eyes?
Yeah.
Like 99% of us did?
Yeah.
That's what everyone's going to do. They're going to go,
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would 3 people in Chad's midst be murdered under his nose and buried on his property without him knowing a single thing about it, including his wife?
Yeah. He's
Sorry,
either
bro.
the dumbest
That's
person
gonna be real
alive
tough
or
to
a
lie.
big liar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll never really know what these kids feel until after the actual trial is over.
Mm-hmm.
It's 48 hours. It's on 48 hours on CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday night, it's at 9 Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would not go on TV, though, Cranky says. There's a lot of pressure from defense attorneys to show public support from family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I can't imagine if I was in that position what it would feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And this may be, hey, we're going to go on and say this because we don't want him to die. We don't want him to
Right.
get the death penalty because he's still their dad.
Yep. Well, I don't know. Oh,
We're
there
back.
you are.
We
Okay.
lost our feed for a second there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Journey says, how can they say he was framed when he had a big fire at the pit? Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we
Stephanie's late. What's going on? Let's do recap. So this was a very brief hearing in which the judge, was this Edens or was it Boyce? I didn't even notice.
It was Boyce.
It was Judge Boyce in attendance, as well as the court reporter and all of the prosecutorial team, Mark Means, Jim Archibald, and John Pryor. Everybody was there. It was a whole reunion. The gang's all here, and they had some discussions off camera that we don't know about. Well, we do. We were discussing. There's the prosecution. It looks like is objecting to Chad's counsel, and so they were discussing that. And then what they did talk about on camera is that the judge has received a couple of letters from Lori's physicians at the state mental hospital asking for a little more time with her, for her treatment. And so what they've done is they pushed the date out to September 8th. So they're going to definitely be keeping her there until they have another status conference on September 8th. And they are requesting some proper documentation from the hospital so that they can make a good decision about how to move forward with Lori.
But it
Fair?
sounds like they are asking for more time.
Yeah.
That likely she's going to go, maybe another. They're prescribed time frames for this. So I think the next time frame is 6 months, isn't it? 90 days first, then 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, she's in a criminal ward in a state psychiatric hospital. It's pretty much prison. I don't think it's too nice. It's not. You know.
No. And she has absolutely zero privacy. Believe it or not, she had more privacy at the jail than she's getting now.
Yeah, no, because
Yeah.
she's probably on suicide watch and, watched incredibly closely. She has,
Yeah.
this is not privileged time. Actually, it's probably really, really unfun for her because they're likely trying various psychiatric meds to try to snap her back into reality, which can be pretty uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And also the food at the jail is much better than at the hospital.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's one of the reasons that she couldn't stay at or at the jail for her psychiatric care was that at the jail she is checked every 15 minutes, and that's the maximum. That's all the jail has to offer. That's all the staff they have to offer, and so she's in the hospital where she is under 24-hour, 7-day a week supervision versus the every 15 minutes the jail has to offer.
She is. Right. And they can force meds on her because she has been deemed incompetent and unable to make decisions in her own care. And so they can medicate her without her consent in this particular situation.
Yep.
So, yeah, all those things are happening.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
But those are some of the reasons why she's not at the jail. They can't give her adequate mental health care at the jail. They also could not be transporting her daily for mental health care because, again, that would require much, much more security than the jail is able to offer.
Mm-hmm. And, I've been to this particular psych hospital where I believe that she is, and it's a big campus of locked wings. Mm-hmm. And I went there as an intern when I was in school as a social worker. And you go in, and then there are a series of doors that lock behind you. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, it's terrifying until you get back out. Because you realize every time a door closes behind you, that one's locked, and then again, that one's locked. This is a high security kind of place. And yeah, not fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And as you guys know, or you might not know, but we've covered other cases where prisoners were there and held as prisoners. They're totally set up for that. Yep. The case of the murder from Clayton, Idaho, in which I can't think of his name, the guy that was extradited back here in his 90s from Texas. And he was deeply into dementia and couldn't stand trial and just lived there until he died this spring. But because it is a facility that is well set up for this kind of care.
Yeah.
Do you think Lori has access to her scriptural readings at the hospital? I'll bet she does.
Probably, because people have the right to their spirituality. However, if they feel it is feeding her delusions and feeding her mental health, they could potentially withhold it. So it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. Because, her religious rights could come into question, but then again, she's a prisoner. So,
yeah.
Interesting.
She is.
Yeah.
Do we think she or Chad will ever see freedom again? No, I do not.
No, because here's the thing. If Lori never was deemed competent to stand trial, which I totally don't predict that will happen, she will stand trial at some point. There was that girl who murdered her dad here in Rexburg, here in Madison County, here a few years ago. And she was in care for a year.
Yeah.
She was in care at the state hospital, just like Lori is, for a year before they had her spiffed up and ready to go. And then she pled guilty, and now she's in prison. But at any rate, it could take a while. But I don't think that'll happen. But even if she was unable to stand trial, she's still not just getting out.
No, she's not going anywhere. They can hold her forever.
Yeah.
Welcome, Rhombohedral. I think we haven't seen you in the stream before. It's nice to see you here.
And Geneva, who cares what happens to Chad, Daybell, and Lori? He had children. Lori's buried on his property and tried to flee. What else is he capable of? Good question. Too many questionable deaths. Geneva, you're
Mhm.
singing my song because the question I have been asking all along is who was next? Alex, obviously, but who was next after Alex?
Yeah.
They weren't done.
No,
They weren't done.
they just got interrupted. They were not done at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scriptural text may undermine her treatment. They may.
It's
And so
possible.
that would be up to her doctor. If they are, considered to be harmful or feeding her delusions, then they can withhold them. She's basically, she has a medical stipulation. So that means that they are 100% responsible for her and make all of her decisions for her in being the care of the Department of Health and Welfare.
Good question about the Melanies and
Oh,
Zulema.
Hedril, I think that's awesome. You follow us from the Netherlands. First time you see us on a live stream. It's great to have you here.
I'm glad the timing worked out today. We're not usually live this time of day, but I'm happy we're here. Do we think the Melanies or Zulema will get locked up? I don't.
No.
No, I don't. Zulema has a conditional use. Help me. Oh no.
It's not conditional use. It's conditional.
No, it's not conditional. It's use.
It's
oh my gosh.
immunity. It's a use immunity. Yeah,
use
but
immunity.
it is
We're sharing
conditional
one
because
brain cell over here.
it's a conditional immunity because they cannot charge her for anything that she tells them. But if they find out through other people and evidence that she has committed crimes, they still can charge her. I don't think they will, because I think what they've done is turn all of those people and given them immunity in order to get their testimonies. And I feel like that's why they all testified at the grand jury. And that they gave the evidence that they had in order to protect themselves from prosecution. That's absolutely what I think happened.
Agreed. Yep. I was hoping, honestly, that some of the other players might have some charges. At this point, I agree. I think that there's immunity for all to get Chad and Lori down.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Can she get visitors while she's in this hospital, or are they restricted? They are restricted because she can't put anyone on her visitor list because she has no control at all. Now, her attorney, she has the right to her attorney, and she probably has the right to spiritual counsel if she wants it. To be frank, who else has she got?
Right. No one visiting Lori.
Some family members that were very much not close to her before this happened. She's got nobody.
No. And because of COVID, they're likely not allowing any visitation anyway. I mean, from the time she entered the Madison County Jail to now, they have not allowed visitors. The only way you can have a visitor is via video or phone, through their telmate system. But that's totally different at the hospital, of course. But nobody's
there were some in-person visits going on, although I think they may have pulled them back now.
At the hospital.
Not that she was getting them, but just in general. What about the attempt on Brandon? Well, they are looking into that in Arizona, and it is possible. We're talking about the Idaho cases. Now, Arizona is investigating that, and they have said that they believe that it was Alex Cox that made that attempt. And there has been a statement made that they are looking into Melanie Pulowski for that. It's possible she might face something in Arizona. I don't think she's going to face anything in Idaho.
I don't think so either. Yep. Paula said, obviously anyone who objected to their relationship was dark and a zombie and had to be eliminated. I think Kay and Larry were in real danger. I agree.
Oh, yeah. I think they were high on the list.
Well, I also think that Chad's kids could have been in danger if any of them stepped out of line. And I think Colby and his wife could have been in danger. I think anybody, not only that, I think Melanie Pulowski, Melanie Gibb, David, Melanie's boy, and as well as Zulema, I think any of them could have been in danger.
Yeah,
I think they're crazy to think they weren't. They surely could have. Yeah.
And yes, no insanity plea in the state of Idaho. That is not an allowable thing. So what she is right now is deemed incompetent. All that means is she sits in a hospital instead of a jail.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that she can ever claim that she was insane in committing these crimes. And she's already been found to not have been, she's not incompetent at the time of the crime.
David Warwick, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
David Warwick. Yeah. The competency in most of these cases is usually for people with a severe developmental disability when they truly don't understand the crime that they committed.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what's happening with Lori. She has become incompetent while in jail.
Mm-hmm.
They've never even posited that she was incompetent while committing the crimes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good point, Bob. He says that as far as the Department of Corrections, the only visitors allowed are immediate family. Yeah, and she
Right.
doesn't have any. I mean, the only immediate family she's got left is Colby.
Yeah.
Or her sister or mom. No one's coming. No one's
No,
visiting her.
they're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Nope.
Yeah. I'm glad she
Yeah.
can't have any visitors. She can stay there for years and get no visitors, says
Mhm.
Journey. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. I mean, it's not like it's any easier on her to be in the hospital. And that's where I feel like she may start to come around, is the realization that this isn't going to change her situation at all.
Well, no. She's never getting out. Ever.
Mm-mm.
Ever. Because the fact remains that she is not safe for society. And that's why she will never get out. Yeah. Yeah, Lori has her scary mom, Janice Cox, and sister, Summer Shiplet. Yeah.
But they're not close. They were not close. They didn't even clue into what was going on with her until she was already in jail. I mean, they didn't know where she was or the kids were missing. They didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Master manipulators. Yeah, Chad is particularly. Lori is when it comes to men. Lori's very good at manipulating men.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. What have we said about Lori? She has a golden vagina. She continues to reel men in and get them to believe her hype. Look at how many of them have fallen. Yep.
Do I think she's faking it? No, I don't. At this point, I'll tell you something. Those doctors at that hospital know exactly what faking looks like. She's not faking it.
No.
For them to want to keep her longer, she's not faking it.
Nope. No, however, if they want to keep her longer, that may very well mean that they're making headway. And they just need a little more time.
It's possible.
Yep. Oh, dear. Shy Meadow says when she finally comes out for trial, she will look like Janice.
Oh, boy.
Oy vey. Well, I mean, prison makeup, jailhouse makeup could definitely, it could get there, couldn't it?
It definitely could. Yeah.
Yeah. But Stephanie, it's a good point. She said Lori hates Kay. Mm-hmm. I feel that that's a reason she killed or had JJ killed, because Kay got that money. Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely spite there, and of course,
yeah.
Just so angry that she got that money.
Yep.
And Tylee was just old enough to be figuring out that there was some bullshit going down.
Yeah.
My sense is that Tylee just got difficult because she was like, what the hell is going on here? Mm-hmm. Why is this happening to our family? Why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be difficult to fake it 24 hours a day, long-term in a hospital. Yes, it would. Yeah. Particularly a hospital like a state psychiatric ward that is very familiar with that kind of thing. Right. People who get in there, they don't last very long.
No, they've seen it all before. Well, the process to end up in the state hospital, that doesn't just happen.
Mm-mm.
You have to go through quite the process to be deemed in the need of being in the state hospital.
Well, I think she was evaluated twice, once for her attorney and once for the state.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you might be able to pull it off in a jail, but not in a hospital.
Mm-mm. Geneva, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Geneva. I appreciate that.
It's interesting, though. It's definitely it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. It certainly makes you wonder if Chad will be sentenced and down the road before Lori ever sees the inside of a courtroom. It could happen.
Yeah. I'm curious about what can happen if he decides to flip on her while she's in the hospital and incompetent. I don't know how all that works.
Yeah.
And what can happen, there, because I don't think that she can testify on her own behalf right now.
No.
So I don't know. It's
Nope. There's a lot to be seen.
it's
Kat
super
said,
complicated.
once Tylee observed her mom with Chad, she had to put 2 and 2 together and had to be eliminated. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And, just thinking about my own kids, because my kids were right around her age.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get away with shit around here,
Right.
My kids call me on everything from why are you wearing those pants to that's not exactly what happened in the story you just told. I mean, could you imagine a teenager watching all this stuff go down? Surely she had plenty of opinions, But also, Tylee was solely taking care of JJ. She was
Right.
taking care of JJ. It
She
only
was.
mystifies me a little why they got rid of Tylee first, because then they had to take care of JJ. And anyone who knows that family has said that Tylee was the one taking care of him.
Yeah, but Tylee must have been causing some trouble.
Mhm.
My sense of it is Tylee was causing some trouble.
Mhm.
She was, giving them some hassle, and that's why.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, no kidding. Then they had 10 days of taking care of JJ on their own, which that didn't last very long, unfortunately.
Yep.
Poor little kid.
Mhm.
Jeez.
Right. If she can fake insurance documents, cover her tracks, plan a wedding, plan trips to Hawaii, she's competent. Oh, agreed. Oh,
Yep.
agreed. She was competent enough to commit the crimes. Now we just have to get her spiffed up and ready for court.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, and that's a good point, Cranky. She said, I think they got to her first because they could never get to JJ through her. Good point. Really good point. Because she did watch JJ like a hawk. I have a friend who lived across from them. And at one point, the way their housing worked, the way those townhouses work, there's kind of a center area where there's a little playground and little walking space and some common space. And the neighbors were saying that JJ would be out in that common space for many hours completely alone with no supervision at all. And multiple neighbors had complained about it because sometimes he would get a little out of hand and hit other kids, swear at other kids, stuff like that. And, JJ had autism, he probably had a few behaviors and he wasn't being supervised because, Tylee, I think, had enough and was just trying to be a regular kid. And Lori was way too busy with her own, bullshit to keep an eye on him. And so at one point, my friend had knocked on their door and said, hey, he's out here swearing at all the kids. And I don't think my 3-year-old should have to, be talked to like that, hear those words. And remember, this is Rexburg, Idaho. I mean,
Right. We're talking. The
we don't
buttholes are
talk
tight
like
here,
that.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, she knocked on the door and Tylee answered the door, and then Lori came to the door and they both really stared her down. They were very unfriendly, both of them. And she said, hey, JJ seems to be having a hard time out here. And he's hitting kids and throwing dirt and swearing at kids. And can you guys just kind of keep an eye on that? Because I don't think my kids should have to be listening to that. And Lori was like, oh, fine, we'll open a window. Okay. Yeah, that was their solution. They opened a window. She said after that, they kept the front door open too, or the back door, I think, actually. But so they could at least maybe hear a little bit what was going out there. But lots of neighbors said that he was totally neglected. Yeah. Just left outside to his own defenses. And that's a safe area. I mean, they can't, it's likely that he couldn't get out to the street and stuff like that, hopefully. But still, he wasn't really getting the, he wasn't getting the supervision that a kid his age needed, let alone a kid with autism needed,
Right.
And of course, because they had pulled him out of his school. I mean, think about that. This boy had been in a special school that really, really helped him, as well as he had his dog, his service dog that Lori got rid of in August, end of July, first part of August before they moved. And his dad was gone, who had been the key to his to helping him with his with him, right? So at any rate, I think that I think after Tylee was gone, it really makes me sad for JJ thinking about what kind of treatment he got. What did they do with him? What did they do with him? Was he just locked in his bedroom? Neighbors still say, yeah, he was just outside a lot with nobody paying any attention. And by that time, it was getting towards the end of September. It was cold outside.
Yeah, it wasn't a time that kids would necessarily be outside for hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has Chad talked about getting a divorce? Not that we have ever heard.
That's a great question.
I mean, that would be kind of hilarious, but no,
That would
I haven't
actually
heard
be
that.
so fun, wouldn't it? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But you're right, Stephanie. If he had been killed, she would have known and called the police.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's absolutely true.
Yep. All good
Well,
points. Yeah.
I think that's everything we have for the moment.
Yeah.
We'll definitely update you on the 48 hours interview with the kids. Obviously, we can't live stream that, but I think you'll be out of town, Katie, but I thought I would watch it and then come right on and just give you guys a synopsis, kind of what we heard, so that you can, if you don't have a way to watch it, I can share with you what was said. And we will be back. We have a new show dropping tonight, and of course we'll be back with our regular case update live stream tomorrow night. That's at 7 p.m. Mountain, and we'll be back with the psychic hour on Thursday night, and that is also at 7 p.m. Mountain, and both of those are streamed live on YouTube and our Facebook page.
Well, in the psychic hour this week, I am traveling, and so Christy's wife Rhonda is coming on. She was one of the original psychic sisters, and you guys are going to adore her. You're in such a treat with Rhonda coming on.
A lot of fun. So yeah, you're going to want to watch out for all that. So we have lots more great content coming this week. So keep an eye on us, and thank you all for joining us today. It's really fun to get to talk to you all, and we will keep you updated as soon as we know more.
Yes, we will.
So you know what? We are True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Thanks for being here.
Take care.